In this video, we're going to be talking about whether or not you should be joining more game jams. Please note that the views expressed in this video are solely mine and only mine and not necessarily to be taken as gospel. So a lot of younger devs, solo devs, smaller dev teams that are just right out of school, right out of college, things like that, think about, maybe we should do game jams to get some inspiration, to get some ideas, to try some new things, and see what we do and don't like about that experience. And you may find yourself in that position very conflicted about whether or not you should actually go through that process or whether you should just dive into your first idea that you think is really good and you think is really something you want to pursue and just run with that and spend the next 2 years or 3 years developing your current baby project. And so in this video, I want to try and flesh out some of the ideas that kind of go through your mind when thinking about, well, would it be a good idea to be a game jam participant and do regular jams, or whether you should just really dedicate yourself to that one main project right now. All right, starting off, first things first, doing more game jams means I'm making more games. I'm going to start fresh each time. I'm going to make a new project and doing more projects, going through the process of completing a project one time after another. I'm going to do it more. I'm going to be better at making games. Every time I screw up, I'm going to figure out why I screwed up and get better at each individual project. And that's how I'm going to get better over time. Well, yeah, but you got to be careful about the fact that if you keep doing the same thing, you keep making the same platformer again and again, you're not really growing that much and you're just exhausting yourself over and over again, making the same thing and not really improving as a developer. Okay, fine. Well, if I'm constantly trying new ideas, then, I'll be thinking about new stuff, getting new inspiration, and trying to flesh out what is fun, what isn't, scrap the stuff that doesn't work, keep the stuff that does, and I'll have this giant repertoire of things that I can flesh out later and turn into actual projects down the line. And if you keep going back to game jams and keep trying a new thing, always wanting something fresh, always wanting to try this another idea that you came up with this past weekend on this new game jam that you knew was coming up, you never end up fleshing out the ideas that do work and going back to the things that you found the fun in and figuring out how to turn those into a full-featured game. Game jams provide this really good sense of time pressure. You have this short deadline in most cases, sometimes even only like a day or a weekend to knock out an entire project from start to finish with just a single theme to start from. And it gets you this practice of pushing forward and making it work in the time that you have. So you really get to push yourself and find your limits and try and extend those limits as best you can. Pushing yourself is good and finding your limits is good, but understanding those limits is also very good, and you need to make sure that you don't neglect your health for the sake of hitting deadlines that are completely arbitrary for some competition or some event that you don't necessarily have to compete in. Joining up in game jams gives you the opportunity to join others who are also participating in these things, and you get to meet new people, find people with other skills that you don't have, and make contacts in the industry so that over time you know more people and can work with other people continuing projects that you want to have in the future. Developing contacts and social skills is a very good thing, but it does happen often enough that if you really wanted to work on a specific skill set for a project, for this jam, you end up having to work on things that you're already good at for some of the shorter deadline game jams because you already have that skill and the team just needs the project to be finished. So you need to hit the stuff you're good at and not practice the stuff that you're not. Game jams only give you so much time, so it gives you this opportunity to practice scope. You start out thinking, okay, what can I make in a day or 2 days or a week or however long I have? And then once you get towards those deadlines, you really start thinking about, okay, maybe we start cutting here. What do we start cutting? Because every project has to go through that process, and game jams give you that opportunity to make light cuts and not really be super invested in this thing because you've only spent a weekend or a day or whatnot just getting a little bit done, and at the end of that game jam you'll have this product that you feel good about, knowing that you cut something, but at the same time you feel good about the fact that you got the thing finished. Game jam time restrictions are really good, and scoping is also a good skill to practice, but it can feel really restraining when you always only have enough time to do just the minimum viable product and you don't have enough time to flesh out something that feels really fun as you're making it and turn that into a full fleshed idea that can turn into an entire game because you think, oh, I have to make these other snippets of a project that's going to be done in this 2 days. So, at the end of the day, it kind of ends up being, how do you want to define yourself as a dev? Some people have a lot of time, some people don't have a lot of time. Some people have a lot of life happen in their life at the time. Got kids, got obligations, got things you have to take care of. Maybe game jams aren't something you can dedicate a weekend or a week or a day to, but it is something that is very beneficial and can give you a lot of things as an independent developer, as a solo developer, as somebody trying to improve a skill set or several skill sets. But there are a lot of things you need to be careful about and a lot of things you need to be looking out for while you're doing it to make sure that you're being safe at the same time and not neglecting things that you need to be responsible for. So that's my perspective on the world of game jams and whether you should or shouldn't do them and what you may gain or not gain from doing them. I'm interested in hearing other perspectives on the idea or having people presenting counterpoints to what I've presented here. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe down below, and until next time, have fun and keep working.